All right. I know that I'm late, but over these last 2 weeks, I just watched my first two episodes of Insecure. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar. This is Big Discussions 76 Entertainment and Media. First of all, please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Okay, so as per usual, I am late to the party. It's the story of my life. And so I just watched my first two episodes of HBO's Insecure. I've been hearing a lot about the show for a while, for several years now, actually, and I just realized that I could catch the show on my jailbroken Fire Stick. And the show is normally not in my wheelhouse. You know, I'm a science fiction guy. I like action movies and those kinds of things. But I decided to take a look at the show. As I will describe, I've heard about it vicariously through some other individuals who are much more knowledgeable than me. But this channel is dedicated to entertainment and media, so by virtue of that, I can talk about that here with some level of credibility. So first of all, before I jump in, I'm going to make this short, as I've only watched two episodes. First of all, Issa Rae, so who's the creator and the main character? I just want to say that I always thought that Issa Rae was fine. In many of the men's spaces on YouTube, and I think just a lot of the men in general, I heard comments about her looking masculine and not not someone that a lot of men will be attracted to. But I always looked at her. She's got brown skin. She's kind of slender yet shapely, and I always thought she was fine and cutie and someone I would talk to and holler at. As a matter of fact, in some ways, she reminds me of an ex. And this picture very much reminds me of an ex who I was very, very in love with. Just the shower cap, the way it's fitting on her head, the curves of her face, and those innocent eyes, which the person behind those eyes may not be so innocent as was the case with my ex, but she reminds me of women I've met, and in this instance, an ex that I've met and who I was very attracted to, and I think Issa Rae is a very attractive woman, in addition to being very creative as well. So I watched last week's episode. It was it was consistent with everything, you know, I've heard. There was a balance between comedy, humor, and real life situations in terms of relationships between black men and black women. And I think for the rest of this video, I will refer to black women as BWs. I thought the show would go longer than 30 minutes. I don't know why I thought it would be like Game of Thrones, also on HBO, which went for a whole hour, but the show only went 30 minutes. And as I mentioned before, I am not an expert on the show, as I've only tuned in recently, but I've been vicariously watching the show and listening to reviews by YouTube content creators who I hold in very, very high esteem. Among them are the master teacher BGS Ibmore and Ron Wills, the field master, and to some extent Cousin T-Taw and I believe at one point all three of them held a panel just discussing Insecure. And Cousin T-Talk had some very insightful, what's the word I'm looking for? Has a very insightful paradigm for how BWs get along and the hierarchies that develop between BWs. The master teacher BGS Ibmore, I think something that very much relates to the show is his octane scale. You can look up BGS Ibmore for more details, and he actually, I believe, created one video just dedicated to the Molly character. Actually, he created several videos related to the characters in the show, and that's how I've watched the show through these three gentlemen. Let's see, and I think that one thing that each of these three gentlemen has said is that while this is a fictional show, it in a comedy, it very much mirrors real life relationships between black men and black women. And from what I could see just from watching from these two episodes, I would agree with that. Some of the stuff in there I've experienced, and I think it's accurate. Let's see. I stumbled upon an article, interestingly, after watching last week's show. My smartphone brought this article to me. It brings lots of articles to me. And this article was entitled Insecure, Why Fans Are Disappointed in How Unlikable Molly Has Become. And this was written by, I think it's Tamara Grant. You know what? It's going to be in the description box below. I was going to just peek at my computer screen and get a closer look of it. I zoomed it out so I could take the screenshot. But again, when I read this article, regular viewers of the show didn't or haven't seemed to like how the Molly character has been portrayed this season. And once again, I want to refer back to content by BGS Ibmore, because he's discussed this at length. But what I want to say, what I thought about when I read this article and when I watched that show, which basically focused on Molly meeting her friends, Issa, her boyfriend, Andrew, the Korean guy, meeting them halfway and having a hard time changing and growing and learning to play well with others. As I read the article, and Molly is a high-income professional, highly educated woman, and a lot of BWs identify that way and probably identify with this character. What I realized is that's a real thing. This is real. There are BWs walking around like that, and I've actually dated women like that. I'm thinking about my ex in the shower cap, coincidentally. There are women who feel like you should accept them the way that they are, and if people are having a hard time getting along with them, then it's the other person's fault, and they should just be accepted as they are, and they should not have to meet someone halfway. The other person should go completely to them. So that's a real thing. And so it's something everyone should think about, especially the women who don't like the fact that she's been portrayed this way. The other thing I thought about, and BGS has done numerous reviews on the friendship between Molly and Issa and how this season has unfolded. The other thing I thought about was that this happens in friendships. Friendships, friends grow and they evolve, and sometimes one friend develops more self-love and stops putting up with things that they put up with before. At other times, another friend has to realize that they need to concede and give a little and be a little more human. So I think that there's a lot of reality to that. That article is going to be in the description box below. In terms of last night's episode, let's see. So my Fire Stick, the reception was getting kind of choppy. So there was a side story about one of the couples, a couple that's their friend, and the woman disappeared, and they went to track her down, and my Fire Stick froze right when she opened the hotel door. So I didn't see that part. I'll have to go back and try to rewatch that. And then there was a piece about Andrew and Molly working out their differences. There was a conflict going back regarding his brother. My Fire Stick froze there again, so I didn't see what the outcome of that discussion was. And then the ending was something that I had heard vicariously through BGS. It was being speculated that Condola was pregnant by Lawrence. And lo and behold, what do we see at the end of that episode? Lawrence comes over. He and Issa have recently reconciled. And he breaks the news to Issa that, yeah, Condola said that she's pregnant and it's mine. And so, you know, that episode ended with Molly and Issa once again meeting up in the diner to talk about what's going on. But, you know, I tuned in late, so I didn't see all of the earlier episodes with Condola, played by Christina Elmore, but just seeing the pictures of her, she's my type, and I would want to shoot at that. And if I were Lawrence, after going through everything I went through with Issa, I probably would have gotten comfortable and stayed right there with Condola. But it looks like in the show now, he's going to have to figure out something, whether or not to stay with her or go back with Issa or whatever, because Condola in the show said that she's going to keep the baby. So, interestingly, without having seen her character much, but listening to BGS's description, I like Condola. Anyway, so that's just, I just want to make this video. I just started watching the show. I'd heard about it, and it looks pretty authentic and realistic. Just like the gentlemen who have done reviews on this have said. I really haven't listened to the women's reviews. I see their tweets on Twitter, but the show seems to be pretty lifelike in my opinion, and I'll be checking it out from this point forward. So I'm going to stop this here. Please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below. Again, I'm not professing to be an expert on this show. I'm a newbie to it. So I'll stop here, and as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.